Bruce and Jasmine want an environmentally friendly kitchen.
Yeah, but when they say green, do they mean mold and fungus?
Not exactly a welcome mat for new baby.
Bacteria, vermin, clutter, and hidden hazards. It's a case for the Kitchen Crimes Unit. They gather evidence, identify suspects, and with $5,000, fix the kitchen to prevent future crime.
Green kitchen probably has more to do with individual responsibility towards the health of the planet.
From everything from trying to eat organic when we can and, you know, trying not to use so much water, don't leave the lights on, try and buy things that aren't packaged.
As avid environmentalists and adventurers, they've traveled the world. They're settling down in their first house. They still want to live close to nature, but now they also have to think about what's best for their first baby.
There's a lot of walking in the kitchen. Going back and forth, it gets tiresome, especially now that I'm pregnant. Oh. It has so much space, but it's not really functional.
You know, you get arguments in the kitchen because I have more of a laissez-faire attitude than Jasmine does. No one needs to know about my hands in the food. Everything's stuffed in the drawers. The stove doesn't work properly.
So just try 325.
425.
Look at the thing.
The sink doesn't work properly.
So there's, you know, those spaces where you can't get in to clean, which are a little worrisome, especially I don't like using bleach or anything like that.
If I were bleaching the sink every day, I think that somehow would be worse for myself and for the environment to use toxic chemicals in my house.
You know, you're killing bacteria, you're losing your ability to become immune to these things that are becoming superbugs. Yes?
I'm sweating.
You know, a kitchen can be a dangerous place. Using chicken or cooking with meats and stuff like that, just cleaning up properly. Sometimes it's hard to stay on top of that. Food safety is huge.
That's how people get ill. Like food-borne illness comes from poor sanitation, but I just don't think that that's the case here. I think it's perfectly safe.
It's kind of scary.
Good.
Safe or scary? The Kitchen Crimes Unit will discover who's right about the real state of this kitchen.
It's a large space, not a lot of workspace.
You know what? In my business, if it looks clean, 99% of the time it's not.
Using the tools of the trade, Marina studies space, storage, and traffic flow. Rob takes swabs of the kitchen to analyze back at the lab.
You want to see a kitchen crime? Wait till I swab this. This is where they're also going to rinse all their dishes. I want to see how dirty this kitchen sink is, because that's going to be transferred onto their plates.
Something's a little smelly around here.
Yeah, it is.
Rotting food in a container. There's an opportunity for things to live in there. Rob, take a look at this. Look at the distance from the sink to the fridge. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. The fridge to the stove. 13 feet. Look at what happens to our work triangle. Do you see that?
It doesn't even look like a triangle anymore.
We really have a straight line. It looks like old taps may have been there at one time,
Oh, that makes sense.
and they've just patched it up.
Marina, look at this.
Oh,
A lot of dirt.
ew. Rob, I'm thinking this cupboard is a little too low. Oh yeah, heat, wood, it's a recipe for a fire.
The risk of fire in the kitchen and bacterial growth near the food prep area puts the Kitchen Crimes Unit on high alert. Next, microscopic evidence confirms crimes of slime. Just months from becoming parents, Bruce and Jasmine are about to find out if their environmental experiment in the kitchen is out of control. Interior designer Marina Hildebrand identifies a fire hazard and traffic violations. Health inspector Rob Mancini suspects germs are blooming, especially after putting his nose to work.
So I'm interested to learn about what a green kitchen means to you.
Composting is a great example of something that everybody can do in your own kitchen, just to reduce the amount of waste that you throw in the landfill.
And the smell.
Yeah, the compost bucket. I try and empty it every other day. And sometimes I forget.
Do you ever put a lid on the one under the sink?
Use a plate sometimes. Kitchen plate.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Does that help you?
Oh, I see.
So let's talk about this stove a little.
All right. We use it a lot, at least probably 3 meals a day.
When you're boiling pasta on the back
yeah.
element, the steam comes up into the cupboards, all through the cupboards.
Right into my spices. Probably not the best spot for the spices.
It's not ideal.
But when I do need to put something in the oven and also cook on the top of the stove, well, I have to say that these things sometimes go on the floor. It's limited in here. I mean, we have space, but there's no storage space.
Right?
What's going on here?
I wanted a bigger sink, and my uncle found the sink. Now, I didn't ask where he found it. Then he found this as well. We had to change it because a hole was here before. So we couldn't get it on the right way. So the cold on the hot, and the up is the down.
What do you think of that down there?
Well, I mean, you're putting it in soapy water anyways.
Can you tell me a little bit about how you wash dishes?
Well, it's pretty easy. We disagree on this. Let's put a rag here. Fast and furious. There.
How often do you clean this?
I don't think I've ever cleaned it.
I've cleaned it, but I don't really want to use chemicals in it. So usually what I do is I just boil water and kind of try and sterilize it. But
We're gonna go back to the lab now. We're quite interested to see what we're gonna find.
So am I.
I'm not.
You have to clean that? I don't trust that thing.
This is something you often don't see outside of a whirlpool. Pseudomonas aeruginosa. See these black colonies on this plate? Kind of looks like freckles on a person's face. I actually isolated it from the kitchen sink, the spray nozzle, and even the white rag holder. It produces this invisible shield called an alginate slime matrix.
Slime.
That's right, slime. So if you're using soap and detergents, will do nothing for this bug. Once you have it, it's an infestation, it won't go away. For instance, in whirlpools, you have to drain the whirlpool, you have to super chlorinate it, scrub the whirlpool down, fill it up again, and chlorinate it again. Now I know our friend Bruce isn't too keen on the idea of bleach.
He says he hates bleach.
He has to use it in order to get rid of this, coupled with a little bit of elbow grease as well.
They're gonna wanna know this, especially with baby on the way. What'd you find?
Bacillus cereus. And I found it in the kitchen sink as well as on the water cooler tip. It produces this hard shell around this bacteria, again, a protective defense mechanism against heating, even freezing. And it can cause very, very bad food poisonings. This is something you would never, ever expect to find, but we did. So what does that mean? Poor sanitation, period.
Okay, so what we're gonna do here is we're gonna relocate the fridge to the other side of the kitchen. And in this space, I'm then going to move the dining table because it really is two separate spaces. This is a room unto itself and the kitchen is a room unto itself. And what's happening is we've mixed our zones. I would like to relocate the stove here. We're going to install a new cabinet here. Then we're going to install their fridge that's way across the room here. It's the flow thing that we talked about. How the preparation flows to the cook and then flows to the cleanup. That's really important.
Next, delivering the verdict. Bruce and Jasmine wanted an organic and chemical-free kitchen, but the idea backfired. The Kitchen Crimes Unit makes the case. Guilty of sink sabotage, involuntary arson, water cooler criminality, and zoning violations.
Hi, you two.
Hi.
Ooh, do I sense some nerves here?
There's a level of fear.
I've got my lab results and I'm extremely concerned.
So am I.
This is the fear that turns into like the laughing.
I isolated 2 types of pathogens in this sink. Bacillus cereus and Pseudomonas aeruginosa.
Wow.
We typically find Pseudomonas in whirlpools, in like scuzzy motels and hotels, okay? You guys?
Oh man, I'm leaving.
Not only did I isolate that bacteria here, I isolated the bacteria in your kitchen sink, in your spray nozzle, as well as in this rag holder. You have your sponge in there, cleaning dishes, everything. You're transferring all those bacteria to your pots and pans, your plates.
And so my theory on washing that in hot water won't work to get rid of it?
This is a smart bacteria. It produces a biofilm. It's resistant to disinfection. It's an opportunistic pathogen. That means if you got a cut or your immune system is down, you're pregnant, immune system is not, fully there, it's gonna cause infection. And we're talking about skin infections, ear infections, urinary tract infections, it's horrible. Respiratory tract infections, it goes on. You guys like fresh water, right?
Yeah.
I isolated Bacillus cereus from the water cooler tip. 20,000 colonies of germs per gram on just the tip alone.
That's disgusting.
And it's a spore. So it's resistant to heat, it's resistant to cold, but once you give it the right environment, it's gonna germinate and you can get really sick from this bug. It causes vomiting. It happens within 6 hours as soon as you ingest it.
Sounds good.
You get profuse diarrhea, abdominal cramps. It's not a good thing.
It's not good for a baby.
No, and that's why I'm extremely concerned, because isolated here, the potential for it to get into a plate is extremely high.
So what did we do wrong?
It all comes down to basic sanitation.
It's okay to have a certain level of microbes in your kitchen. Some of that biological aspect is normal.
I agree with you. You are going to find microbes in your kitchen. But when they're human pathogens and when they can get into your food, that's when you need to be extremely concerned, especially with the baby coming in.
I feel like I just got caught cheating on a test or something.
I feel like vomiting.
This is a big fire hazard. We need to have 75 centimeters clearance above the stove. This is where the clearance should be.
Wow.
Wow is right. When you're cooking in the oven, where do you store this stuff?
Lots of times it goes right there on the floor.
Say no to the pans on the floor. Do you see that thing over there? Let's wave to it because it's so far out there.
Yeah.
You really don't have a work triangle, you have a work line. because it's stove, sink, line to the fridge.
Need a conveyor belt.
Right, a conveyor belt would help. You're also gonna have some more demands with baby on the way, so let's make it a little more enjoyable and easier on you.
I like the way you think.
Okay.
I'll tell you what, you're gonna meet your new best friend in the kitchen very shortly.
I guess thanks.
You're welcome.
A little shell-shocked.
Any help in the kitchen will be my new best friend, let me tell you.
$5,000 will rehabilitate this crime scene once and for all.
What we've installed here is a composting bin.
This is perfect because it's gonna absorb all those smells coming from the compost.
And we recycle everything else over there.
That's
Paper,
very
glass,
nice.
and plastic.
They're gonna have to use a lot of elbow grease to get rid of Pseudomonas.
The whirlpool bug?
That's exactly right.
Bingo.
Next, the crime-free green kitchen.
Oh my God.
A sink swamp of bacteria, a fire hazard, a germy water cooler, and zoning violations. The Kitchen Crimes Unit does it again.
Oh my God.
Look at you guys. This is not my house. Where's my house? Same house. That is great.
Wow. Wow, that's so smart.
Stove.
No more bakeware in the oven.
It's a totally different room. Look at this. This is crazy.
Jazz?
Composter.
Charcoal filter.
Yes.
And
A lid.
no more plates. And because the both of you don't throw anything out, there's no need to with your recycling center right here.
This is awesome. I don't even have to go outside now.
Bleach and water. Does that scare you a little bit?
Just with the baby, I don't want Jasmine using bleach too much.
Now, per cup, you actually need 2 drops of bleach this water. It's so diluted, so watered down, it's really not that bad. And it's gonna be enough to disinfect all your surfaces and everything to keep it germ-free. I'm gonna pull out my secret weapon here.
Bruce, I think you should practice.
Yeah, I need more practice. I'm your best friend.
There you go, that's right. Spray again, and just leave it for about 2 minutes. I'm gonna show you the proper way to wash your dishes.
Okay.
The perfect dishwashing solution is the 3-compartment sink method. Actually, in restaurants, when the dishwasher breaks down to ensure public safety, we enforce this, the 3-sink method for dishwashing. So this here, just a cap full of bleach, not much at all. And you just pour it in. So you want to wash to rinse off with warm water.
Okay.
The secret step is a sanitation. You want to put it into the solution here and leave it there for about 2 minutes and let it air dry.
Great.
Now, if you want sanitation and you want to be free of germs, that's the proper way to do it. Your water cooler tip was harboring a Bacillus cereus. You guys are big gardeners.
Yeah.
If you're not washing your hands after you're doing your gardening, it could have been transferred from that source onto your tip.
Okay.
Okay? Now, to get rid of this bug, we've got our 4 drops of bleach to the water, 100 parts per million. Submerge the tip in the solution, take it out, and that's it. Now, a good idea too is to fill it up with some water, add about a cap full of bleach in here, and just let it run right through so you're cleaning the lines as well.
So we have our prep area. Look at all this space. Your stove is no longer crammed into the corner.
Amazing.
Look at
This is like Christmas.
the minimum distance we want to meet is 750 millimeters.
Okay.
And we have exceeded it. Let's talk about the flow right now. Okay, let's walk with me here.
Okay.
Now to the stove, 1, 2.
1, 2. It's a dance. It's kind of like line dancing.
We call it
Very
the
good.
work triangle tango, actually. What do you think about that?
That's good.
1, 2. Do it with me.
1, 2, 3. Open. In the swing, it's kind of like swinging.
And let's go back to the sink. 1, 2, 3.
Wow.
We have a work triangle. This kitchen is officially crime-free.
All right. it in the recycling?